Welcome to Resourcevol Visionaries, the podcast where we explore inspiring stories from the nonprofit sector. This podcast is a free global learning resource for nonprofit professionals, dedicated to sharing innovative solutions and addressing challenges within the nonprofit community. In each episode, we'll dive into real-life examples of how individuals and organizations are making a difference, guided by the Vision for Volunteering's 5 key themes: awareness and appreciation, power, equity and inclusion, collaboration, and experimentation. Whether you're a seasoned nonprofit leader or just starting out, you'll find valuable insights and inspiration to help you in your mission to create positive change and shape the future of volunteering.
We're jumping straight in today with a really fascinating example of community action. We've got some great insights into a project in the London Borough of Bexley, all about supporting LGBTQ plus youth.
Yeah, and it tackles a need that was, very clearly identified within the community itself, which is always compelling.
Exactly. So 2 main players here: Bexley Voluntary Service Council, let's call them BVSC, and a charity called Just Like Us.
Okay.
Now, BVSC, think of them as the main hub for community stuff in Bexley.
Right, the local connector.
Yeah, their whole mission is basically improving life there, supporting voluntary groups, making sure their voices are heard, and crucially for this story, finding those gaps, those unmet needs.
And that connector role is so important, isn't it? Having someone local who knows the landscape.
Definitely. It helps build trust, cuts through red tape, much faster than just a national group coming in cold.
And then you've got Just Like Us bringing that national perspective, founded back in 2016.
That's right.
Their whole focus is improving life for LGBTQ plus young people right across the UK. And they've done research surveys, focus groups, that kind of thing. I imagine showing just how damaging it can be if young people don't feel supported. It links to poor mental health, general well-being, and even future career paths. It really highlights why this kind of support is vital, not just a nice to have.
It really does. And here's the thing that really stood out to me. Before this project, young people in Bexley needing this specific support, we're talking ages 10 to 17, a really key time, they actually had to be referred outside the borough.
Wow, really? So nothing local for that age group?
Nothing specific. So our mission here is to unpack how BVSC and Just Like Us teamed up to fill that gap. What made it work?
Okay, so how did they even pinpoint this need in the first place? Was it just anecdotal?
Well, no, it was more concrete than that. It came through something called the Community Connects Children and Young People's Social Prescribing Service.
Ah, social prescribing. So linking people to non-medical community support.
Exactly. And this service was getting referrals, young people, 10 to 17, specifically asking for support around sexual orientation or gender identity.
So the demand was showing up right there in the system, a clear signal.
A very clear signal. But then Community Connects hit a wall. They had the referrals, but nowhere local to send them.
Right. No actual groups within Bexley for under 18s.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You can imagine how isolating that must have felt for those kids, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that lack of local options, that's what really got BVSC moving.
Seems like it. They saw the gap, they knew it needed filling, and they started looking for solutions.
And that led them to Just Like Us, bringing in that national expertise.
And Just Like Us has this specific model they use.
Which is?
They work mainly in schools. They use trained LGBTQ plus volunteers called ambassadors.
Okay.
And these ambassadors are young adults themselves, like 18 to 25.
Ah, the near-peer approach. That can be really powerful with young people. More relatable, maybe.
I think that's the idea. They find it easier to connect with someone closer in age. Makes the message land better,
Makes sense. And what do these ambassadors actually do in the schools? What do they talk about?
Well, they share their own stories. Their lived experiences of growing up LGBTQ plus.
Okay, so it's personal, authentic.
Very much so.
Yeah.
They cover things like, figuring out your identity, what being a good ally actually looks like, how to challenge anti-LGBTQ plus attitudes.
Right. So it's not just for the LGBTQ plus students. It's about changing the whole school environment, making it better for everyone.
Exactly. It's about fostering that wider culture of understanding and support.
Okay.
Positive messages for all students.
Okay, so BVSC sees this model. They know the need in Bexley, and they think, okay, this could work here.
Right. So the next step is making it happen. The practicalities. Funding, I assume.
Yep, crucial step. They put together a proposal, outlining the goals, more awareness, safer schools, sense of community for kids exploring their identity.
Standard project proposal stuff. Right. And they successfully got funding from the Bexley Wellbeing Partnership.
Ah, okay. So local funding unlocked the national program delivery.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That funding covered the cost of getting the Just Like Us ambassadors into secondary schools across Bexley.
Which is vital. These things don't happen for free.
Definitely not. And it wasn't just money. BVSC played another key role here. Facilitations, connections. They use their existing relationships within Bexley Council.
Ah, leveraging that local network again.
Exactly. To help, Just Like Us, actually connect with the schools, sort out the logistics, schedule the talks, all that groundwork.
That sounds absolutely critical. That's the sort of stuff that can really slow things down if you don't have that local in.
Totally. It shows the value of having that kind of embedded local organization like BVSC.
Yeah.
They know who to talk to, how things work there.
Yeah, it's not just a national charity dropping in. It's a proper partnership using local knowledge. Makes a huge difference to implementation, I bet.
It seems like it really did. So, okay, funding's in place, connections are made, the project kicks off.
When was this running?
It ran from March 2023 through to July 2024, so a decent chunk of time.
Okay. And the scale, how many schools, how many kids?
They worked with 9 secondary schools in Bexley, delivered over 25 separate talks.
And reached.
Over 5,000 students.
Wow, 5,000. That's significant reach in just over a year. It really shows the impact potential.
It does. But beyond the numbers, it's that the qualitative side, isn't it? The actual difference it made.
For sure. What was that impact, do we know?
Well, things like providing visibility, representation within the schools, just hearing those authentic stories from the ambassadors.
Yeah, that must have been incredibly validating for some students. Less feeling alone.
Right, and fostering that sense of community, that feeling of belonging, making the school feel, I guess, safer and more supportive overall.
And hopefully inspiring kids to be, kinder to themselves and each other, that ripple effect.
Exactly, that wider cultural shift.
So the main talk program finished in July 2024. Is that the end of the story, or is there ongoing stuff?
Good question. No, it seems like they've built something more lasting. For a start, the schools that took part still have access to resources.
Oh, okay. Like what?
Like a library of 150 free resources from Just Like Us. Lesson plans, guides, that sort of thing, I imagine.
That's great. A tangible legacy for the schools.
Yeah. And even better, Just Like Us is now plugged into a new LGBTQ plus forum for Bexley schools.
Ah, so it's becoming more embedded in the local education system itself.
Looks like it. Suggests a longer-term commitment.
And what about BVSC? Are they still involved?
They are. They're actually promoting the Just Like Us ambassador volunteer role to Bexley residents.
Oh, interesting. So recruiting locals to become ambassadors.
Yeah, through their volunteer center.
Yeah.
Trying to build that local capacity and involvement, which is fantastic for sustainability.
That really ties it all together, doesn't it? It shows how that initial collaboration can spark longer-term, locally rooted action.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole story feels like a great example of how you pair that local infrastructure, that BVSC piece, with specialist expertise, the Just Like Us piece.
To tackle a very specific need effectively.
Yeah.
It's a powerful model for, the future of volunteering and community initiatives.
So wrapping up the key points for everyone listening, we saw a clear need identified in Bexley for LGBTQ plus youth support.
Because kids were being sent elsewhere.
Right. Then BVSC, the local hub, connects with Just Like Us, the national experts.
They secure funding, crucially.
Yep. And BVSC uses its local connections to smooth the path into schools.
Leading to significant reach those 5,000 students and real positive impact through the ambassador talks.
And importantly, it's not just a flash in the pan. There's ongoing resource access, connections to the new forum, local volunteer recruitment.
All pointing towards sustainability, making sure that support system stays in place.
Absolutely. So if folks want to learn more, BVSC can be reached at info@bvsc.co.uk.
Okay, info@bvsc.co.uk.
And for Just Like Us, their work, donating, volunteering, it's justlikeus.org.
www.justlikeus.org.
Got it. It really was a successful project.
It really was. And, thinking about this Bexley example, it prompts a thought, doesn't it?
Go on.
Well, listening to this, maybe think about your own community. What are those specific unmet needs, maybe for demographics people aren't always thinking about? And then following the Bexley model, what kind of maybe unexpected or unconventional partnerships could actually be forged to tackle those needs effectively?
That's a great takeaway. What surprising collaborations can make a difference where you live? Definitely something to mull over. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep and making a difference.
If you have a story you'd like to share or know of any resourceful visionaries doing great things in the non-profit sector, we'd love to hear from you. Please get in touch by emailing hello@resourcevol.com. You could be featured on an upcoming episode, helping to inspire your non-profit professional peers around the world and shape the future of volunteering. In the meantime, remember to subscribe to this podcast and follow Resourcevol on social media for more inspiring content and valuable insights.